Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with part 3 of whatever this is. I hope you enjoy it. For anyone watching on YouTube, hopefully someone will eventually watch on YouTube. But for anyone who might watch on YouTube at some point, you probably noticed I got my kitten in the picture, kitten more specifically. But anyway, he didn't really want to be in the picture, so you can probably tell he was distracted. I think he was trying to bite me to stop me from picking him up. So I probably should give him the freedom and say I only pick him up when he wants to be picked up. I always want to pick him up, but he never wants to be picked up, I don't think. Although it feels so cozy and comfortable giving him a hug, but he probably doesn't like it. It doesn't seem to like it anyway. But I'd love to know what you think about cats, or any advice that you have about looking after cats or whatever, what makes them happy and stuff like that, which I think is the main thing. Anyway, I'm going to try and crack on with this. I don't think there was anything else I was going to say in the intro, but I'd love to know what you think as ever. And if you have any questions or any advice or anything else you want to comment, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Comments welcome. Constructive criticism and positive feedback especially. Anyway, I'm going to try to stop waffling, and here goes. So number 21. I would have loved to have explained these things and worked on them and worked on my plans a lot more earlier if I was more organised. I would have loved to have achieved a lot more with my goals. Also, sometimes I think of an idea and I think, why didn't I think of it earlier? It would have been so much easier. But yeah, so ideas I have or thoughts that don't always come to me as soon as I like. I suppose I'll often think, why didn't I say that, or why didn't I do that earlier, or why didn't I think of that sooner? But anywho, as I say, I would have loved to have achieved a lot more and done a lot of things. I've got to admit, I do have a lot of regrets on not achieving things I wanted to, but I suppose it is what it is. And so recap, in point number, there are a lot of things I forgot. So in point number 3, I think I forgot to say that if I could get rid of 3 things, and there's something anyone watching overseas might not know, but there's a program called Room 101. Many people might have heard of it, but many people might not have. But basically, it's where you put things in that you want to get rid of. So there's only 3 things that I could get rid of, and I couldn't choose any more. The 3 that I would choose, I know I talked a while about things I would get rid of if I could, but the 3 things I would get rid of are hell, torture or torment, or anything that made people suffer, either in the afterlife or in this life, more than they could bear. But anything that would take away anything that would make a living thing's life not worth it. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. But basically, anything that would make a living thing's life not worth it, especially a human being, I would get rid of. And things like torture, torment, violence. Well, I don't know about violence, but I wouldn't get rid of it completely, but I would limit it. But basically, anything that would make people suffer more than they can bear, or any living thing, especially people, in this life or the next. And the third thing, so that would be hell, torture, torment, or things like that, or things that make people's life not worth living, or living things' life not worth living, especially people. And the third thing would be like the rule. So now, I'm not sure if I should say this word. There's another one I probably shouldn't say, but no occasion or no. I would get rid of the rule: no sex outside of marriage, basically, or probably even get rid of marriages, weddings completely as well. Maybe not. Maybe I'd give people the option. But yeah, mainly things that get rid of people's freedom. Also, in point number 6, I forgot to mention that I would share. I think I meant to say in point number 6, like I would share information or scriptures or verses or whatever you call them from any religion like Islam or any other religion if they support my work. I suppose I did already kind of mention that, but I was meant to mention it in point number 6. And number 7, I was supposed to say like biblical sharing Bibles, because think of the biblical number 7. So those are some of the things I forgot to mention in part 1. There are probably a few in part 2 as well. Anyway, moving on. Number 22, I suppose I'd like to get as many goals as I can done as possible in the future. Again, I have this rather mad mental illness, which I don't know if anyone else in the world has it. I probably won't wish it on to anyone really, but I don't want to be like, woe is me. But it's hard. I do find it hard to control, along with my punctuation and things like that. But like there's a part of me that can't stop thinking about, or struggles to stop thinking at least, about like having notebooks and receipts and things to write on, any sort of paper-based products or products, like pretty much anywhere and everywhere, like not only in my own room or even in my own house, but like literally everywhere. So there's probably no place in the world where I wouldn't have paperwork. So I would love to write when and wherever I can in my own unique M.K.S style. But I suppose I hope to some solutions I thought of are like only writing where I have permission and not on what I have permission on. And in order to acquire that permission, maybe let's say doing 1, 2, or for 1 or share for share. Number 23, any individual or organization or group, let's say it could be spiritual, religious, or business or political or whatever other organization or group that helps me to fund my goals, like say for instance donates to Italian football, invests in sponsors or whatever Italian football, and helping to have football pitches and things like that, or does anything to benefit Italian football, including helping my goals, and explains how they do so. Similar with my other 5 causes, the other 4 of those: Celtic, libertarianism, supporting people from former colonies, and alleviating suffering, and spreading peace, love, joy, and hope and happiness instead, and that kind of thing. Anyone who supports any of those goals, basically I hope to share information that they want me to share, or again sit down with them and find the fairest possible way, maybe even write down a piece of paper like what or online, type up online, so write or type a list of what they do for me, so I can hopefully reward, let's say, which is what most of this is about. Number 24, again, I hope to write whenever and wherever I can, and I'd love to write for at least an hour a day if I could, if I was organised. There's lots of things I'd love to do. So I wish I could sleep less, so I could do more of them, like going for walks, going to the gym. So I'd love to be able to do like an hour of each of these things if I could, an hour each day, like an hour's walk, an hour's swimming and gymming as I call it, an hour swimming, if only I had the energy, an hour's gymming, as I call it, swimming and gymming, because I go to the same place to swim and gym, and it rhymes as well, so I suppose. But I'd love to do, and also play football, and also come up with ideas for Italian football and Celtic and those other things I talked about. I'd love to do those, as many of those things as possible each day, but it's just difficult to have the energy, especially when I sleep too much. That's why I can't stand sleeping too much. Can't stand is probably an ironic way of putting it, but yeah, it's a bit awkward or difficult or annoying, basically all of those things, when I sleep too much, because I'd love to be able to make better use. I wish there was 30 or even 40 hours in a day rather than 24, I suppose, or even more than that, just so I could achieve so many goals. But unfortunately, a lot of time I lack energy and I sleep a bit too much. 25, I do have a lot of biases, as I often say, like towards republics. I'd love anyone who's helped me to support republics as well, I suppose. Again, I do the same deal for them. So for each pound they donate to a republic, or towards causes that benefit republics, whoever invests in, sponsors, or donates to, or just generally supports republics, I would love to return the favour for that as well. Number 26, as I say, also former colonies, and I'll mention that a few times, but countries that were colonised, anyone who supports the cause of anti-imperialism. And I think the best way to do that is to support countries that were colonised all around the world. So in parts of Africa, Asia, Ireland, Latin America, perhaps even indigenous Australasians, Native Americans, what I call the Six, as I often mention. Number 27, I hope to reward whoever supports my plans, as I say, in the fairest possible way. So I hope to look into the best, basically the most fair way to reward anyone who helps me in my plans, or those who I think deserve rewarding. Many of my plans being, as I say, fairly altruistic, I would say, relatively altruistic, or in some cases very altruistic, even if I do say so myself. But I'll say, if I could sit down and make the fairest possible deal and say, for instance, if someone says, I brought you this much food, or I helped you with funding, I helped you with shelter, I provided you with shelter, I provided you with whatever it is, clothes or whatever, I think it would only be fair to return the favour, and I hope to never hold back. I was going to say never reward, quite the contrary. I hope to always reward and never hold back any rewards for anyone who helps me with any of my goals. Number 28, also turning negatives into positives. Number 29, I'll say some of my goals are biased. Like, I love to support my fellow learning disabled people, neurodiverse people, special people like myself, mixed race and other groups of people who have things in common with me, even olive skinned people perhaps, if I can, and that kind of thing. And number 30, I would love to fundraise, if I could, I would fundraise trillions of pounds for Italian football and Celtic as well, and the other causes I talked about. I know I do think of these high level figures. I'm quite a dreamer, I know, as you can probably tell, but again, I hope to reward them all in the same sort of way. I think two things I've learned are, one, that life is about deals, negotiation, compromise, diplomacy and things like that. I think that's why there's a lot of things like wars and division going on in the world, because people are not willing to compromise, make deals with each other, try and be fair with each other and whatnot, round table and discuss things. It's a pity we don't have an organisation that is called United Nations, which you would think would unite nations. But anyway, yeah, sorry, my lame attempt to humour there, but I'd say to me, like, life is about deals, negotiations, compromise, diplomacy and things like that. And the other thing is, I think the sharing of information is such a big thing. I think if you look at Google, that shares information. Most businesses want to share information. Like, they want you to know what their business is. If you don't know what their business is, how can you, I suppose, and most political parties, and some of the things they might want to keep secret, but I think most political parties, they want to share information about their political party. Some of the things, again, they might be a bit crafty about how they explain. Like, I think the Conservative government wants to, or Tories as people call them, wants to, I think they actually ideologically want to make cuts, but rather than be honest with people and say that would help people to be freer and we shouldn't, and we don't want to force people to pay more tax or whatever, I think they try and say it in a roundabout way, like they sort of say they have to do it, whereas they could. I kind of get why they would want to do that, because otherwise they won't get the votes. But I think, yeah, politicians can be a bit crafty with their words, and maybe they do want to keep some ideas close to their chest. Same with businesses or whatever. But generally speaking, I think they do want you to know at least a bit of information about their business or political party or whatever. A poet, artist, or writer wants you to know about their work, their poetry or writing or whatever. And if you look at both Christianity and Islam, I think they both talk about sharing information, and they want people to read the Bible or the Quran respectively. And I suppose that's where part of my ideas come from, about saying I would want to, or if I want to share shares, like if they support me with writing a notebook, for instance, in my own unique style, I will share Bibles, Qurans or whatever, depending on who supports me and what they want me to share, of course, to return the favour. If they want me to share one Bible, say for instance, or one Quran, they should help me with one notebook or one plan or whatever. If they want me to help them with, if they want me to share two, they should help me with 2, 3, 3, 4, or any more than that. Obviously, I think you get the picture. Or they could help me in one of my other goals, or like I say, helping with funding or support my content creation or whatever else it is. But anyway, I think I've waffled enough. So as ever, I'd love to know what you think, and hope I make some sense. I do worry that people won't understand my quirky, mad mind. But on that note, I am out. Peace and love.